Has anyone ever treated you differently because of your age? Perhaps rushing to help when you didn't need it, or cutting conversations short? Today, we're joined by Dr. William Bennett, who, after 40 years in geriatric medicine, has discovered something fascinating. Often, it's not our actual age that changes how people treat us. It's subtle habits we've developed without even noticing. These hidden aging habits can make us appear older, less engaging, or out of touch. But here's the good news. With some simple adjustments, you can completely change how others see and interact with you. These changes aren't about hiding your age, they're about showcasing your wisdom while maintaining your vibrant presence. Today, Dr. Bennett will share 6 habits that might be aging you prematurely, and straightforward fixes that can help you reclaim how others see you, before these habits become permanent. If you find this helpful, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments which state you're watching from. Now, let's start with the habit that surprises most of Dr. Bennett's patients when he points it out. 1. Communication patterns that age you. The first habit that can instantly make you look older has nothing to do with your appearance. It's how you communicate. Many of us know someone who speaks too loudly, frequently interrupts or dominates conversations. What you might not realize is that these speaking patterns send unintended messages about your age and awareness. Hearing changes are usually where it starts, explains Dr. Bennett. When someone begins losing their hearing, even slightly, they naturally speak louder. But they can't hear themselves properly, so they don't realize how their volume has increased. Research shows that by age 70, about 2/3 of us have hearing loss significant enough to affect conversations, yet fewer than 20% realize it's happening. Take Thomas, a 76-year-old retired professor who valued good conversation. At a family gathering, his 10-year-old granddaughter innocently asked, "Grandpa, why are you always talking so loud?" Thomas was shocked. He had no idea he'd become known as the family loud talker. After getting his hearing checked, he discovered moderate hearing loss that had developed so gradually, he never noticed. Volume is just part of the issue, Dr. Bennett points out. When we can't hear well, we often miss the cues that tell us when it's someone else's turn to speak. This leads to interrupting or monopolizing conversations, habits that make others less eager to talk with us. Fortunately, these patterns are easy to fix. First, consider a baseline hearing test. Many are free at community centers or hearing specialists. Even if you don't need hearing aids yet, simply being aware of changes helps you monitor your speaking volume. Second, try the pause and breathe technique. Take a breath before responding to ensure you're not interrupting. And occasionally ask questions like, "What's your perspective on this?" to create more balanced exchanges. Thomas implemented these suggestions and noticed a big difference within a month. "People seem more engaged now," he shared. "My son mentioned that our talks feel like real conversations again, not just me delivering a lecture." Remember, good communication isn't about talking less, it's about connecting more. When we communicate mindfully, we create space for meaningful exchanges that keep us relevant, respected, and valued at any age. Think about your recent conversations. Did you create space for others to contribute equally? This awareness is your first step toward more engaging interactions. 2. Body language and movement signs. The second habit that can add years to your appearance happens before you say a word. It's how you carry yourself. Many of us develop a forward slouch, begin shuffling instead of stepping, or adopt closed-off body language without realizing it. These subtle changes in posture and movement can make others see you as frailer, less confident, and yes, older than you actually are. Your physical presence tells a story about you, Dr. Bennett explains. When people see shuffling instead of purposeful steps, or a hunched posture instead of an upright stance, they unconsciously make assumptions about your energy and capabilities. Research from Harvard found that people consistently rated photographs of seniors with upright posture as more competent, alert, and several years younger than those with stooped posture. Dorothy, an 81-year-old retired accountant, experienced this firsthand. She noticed people had started offering help she didn't need and speaking to her in simplified language. I couldn't understand why until my son recorded me walking across a parking lot, Dorothy recalls. I was shocked to see myself hunched forward with tiny, hesitant steps. I looked exactly like someone who needed help. What's encouraging is how quickly this can change. Physical therapist Michael Roberts, who works with Dr. Bennett, explains that posture affects more than appearance. It impacts health. When you stand straighter, you breathe better, experience less pain, and even think more clearly because of improved blood flow to your brain. The solution doesn't require complicated exercises. Start with the doorway stretch. Stand in a doorway with arms at 90-degree angles against the frame, then gently lean forward to open the chest. Hold for 15 to 20 seconds while breathing normally, repeating 3 times daily. For walking, focus on taking heel-to-toe steps rather than shuffling. Practice walking while imagining a string pulling upward from the crown of your head. And during conversations, turn your whole body toward the person speaking instead of just your head. This open posture signals engagement and confidence. Dorothy implemented these simple techniques and within weeks noticed a dramatic shift in how people treated her. The same bank teller who used to automatically offer to carry my lightweight bag now chats with me about current events instead, she says with pride. Better posture changed how people see me, and honestly, how I see myself. How are you sitting or standing right now? Take a moment to adjust your posture slightly and notice how different it feels. This small change might immediately affect your next social interaction today. 3. Grooming details that date you. Our third aging habit involves something many of us gradually pay less attention to, those small grooming details that make a big difference. This isn't about looking younger or following trends, but rather maintaining the basic grooming habits that keep you looking like yourself at your best. Dr. Bennett notes that as we age, we often stop noticing subtle changes in our appearance. Eyebrows that grow longer, nails that need more frequent trimming, or hair that requires different care than it did years ago. These details can blur the line between looking mature and looking unkempt. The psychological impact goes deeper than appearance. Studies show that personal grooming significantly affects not just how others perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves. When we look well-groomed, we actually feel more confident and engage more actively in social situations. David, a 74-year-old retired attorney, experienced this transformation firsthand. After his wife passed away, he gradually stopped paying attention to the grooming routines she used to gently remind him about. I didn't realize how much I'd let things go until my daughter suggested we visit my old barber shop, David remembers. The barber trimmed my eyebrows, shaped my mustache, and suggested a slightly different hairstyle that worked better with my current hair texture. The results surprised him. At my weekly veterans meeting, 3 different people mentioned I looked well. A woman I've known for years actually started a conversation with me. Nothing had changed except those small grooming details, but suddenly I was more approachable. The good news is that effective grooming doesn't require complicated routines or expensive products. Dr. Bennett suggests creating a simple weekly checklist. Check eyebrows for strays, especially those long ones that seem to appear overnight. Ensure nails are trimmed and clean, and evaluate if your hairstyle still works with your current hair texture and density. For men with facial hair, keeping edges defined makes a tremendous difference, adds Bennett. And for everyone, moisturizing prevents the dry, flaky skin that can make you appear older than you are. A simple fragrance-free moisturizer applied after showering can work wonders. The most important aspect isn't about looking younger. It's about showing your self-respect through self-care. When you take time for these small grooming habits, you're sending a message that you value yourself, explains Dr. Bennett. Others pick up on that message and respond accordingly. Look in the mirror today and ask yourself, what small grooming detail have I been overlooking? Taking 5 minutes to address it might change how you feel about yourself and how others respond to you more than you'd expect. 4. Wardrobe elements that reveal your age. The fourth aging habit involves something we all face daily: choosing what to wear. Many of us reach for the same comfortable favorites year after year, not realizing that our clothing choices might be adding years to our appearance. It's not about following trends or dressing young, Dr. Bennett explains. It's about wearing clothes that fit your current body properly and reflect who you are today. The problem occurs when we continue wearing clothes that have become visibly worn, stretched out, or dramatically out of step with current styles. Susan, a 70-year-old retired executive, had this revelation at her nephew's wedding. "I wore my favorite dress, one I'd had for nearly 2 decades. When I saw the photos, I was stunned. The fit no longer flattered me, the color had faded, and the style immediately dated me. I looked tired and out of place, even though I felt vibrant inside." Research from Stanford found that clothing doesn't just affect how others see us, it changes how we behave. Their study showed that people performed better on tasks when wearing clothes they associated with competence and confidence. This phenomenon, called enclothed cognition, demonstrates that updating your wardrobe isn't vanity. It's about aligning your outer appearance with your inner vitality. Susan decided to refresh her wardrobe with her sister's help. "We didn't buy many pieces, just a few well-fitting basics in colors that brightened my complexion. The difference was immediate, not just in how I looked, but in how I carried myself." Dr. Bennett recommends starting with what stylists call a core wardrobe, a small collection of versatile, well-fitting pieces that can mix and match. Focus first on fit, he advises. Clothes that are too big can make you appear frailer, while clothes that are too tight draw attention to changes in body shape. Consider these simple updates. Replace stretched-out elastic waistbands. Find a good tailor to adjust favorite pieces to your current shape and choose colors that enhance your natural coloring rather than washing it out. Even updating accessories like glasses frames or watches can refresh your entire look. When Susan attended her monthly community meeting in her updated wardrobe, several friends immediately noticed, Dr. Bennett shares. One even asked if she'd been on vacation because she looked so refreshed. The clothes weren't expensive or trendy. They simply fit well and reflected who she is now. Take a moment today to look at what you're wearing. Does it reflect the vibrant, engaged person you are inside? Remember, dressing well isn't about impressing others. It's about honoring the life you continue to live fully. 5. Conversation habits that reveal your age. The fifth habit that can age you has nothing to do with how you look and everything to do with what you say. Many of us develop a tendency toward more negative communication as we age, frequently complaining, criticizing current trends, or reminiscing about the good old days at the expense of appreciating the present. This pattern develops so gradually that most people don't notice it happening, explains Dr. Bennett. But it profoundly affects how others, especially younger generations, perceive and interact with you. William, a 75-year-old retired business owner, recognized this pattern in himself after a telling comment from his college-age granddaughter. After I spent 15 minutes criticizing today's music and entertainment, she gently asked, "Grandpa, is there anything about today's culture you actually enjoy?" It stopped me in my tracks. I realized I'd become the critical older person I never wanted to be. The science behind this is compelling. Neuropsychologist Dr. Rebecca Anderson explains that negativity creates actual neural pathways in our brains. The more we complain or criticize, the more our brains become wired to notice things to complain about. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle that affects not just our conversations, but our overall outlook. This negative communication pattern doesn't just impact how others see you, it affects your own health. Studies show that positive communication correlates with lower stress levels, better cardiovascular health, and even improved immune function. William decided to make a conscious change. I started a simple practice of noting 3 things I appreciated each day, sometimes small things like a convenient new feature on my phone or a helpful store clerk. Within weeks, I found myself naturally mentioning these positive observations in conversations. The transformation in his relationships was remarkable. My grandkids started calling more often. My neighbors lingered to chat instead of just waving hello. One friend even commented that I seemed younger somehow, all because I shifted from criticizing to appreciating. Dr. Bennett suggests a simple technique called perspective bridging. When you catch yourself about to complain, acknowledge the change, but then add something constructive or curious. Instead of "technology is making everyone antisocial," try "communication has certainly changed, and I'm interested in understanding how these new tools create different kinds of connections." This doesn't mean ignoring genuine problems or pretending everything is perfect. Rather, it's about balancing concerns with curiosity, appreciation, and perspective. The result is becoming someone others look forward to talking with, not someone they brace themselves to hear from. What conversation will you have today? Consider how you might bring more balance, curiosity, and appreciation to it, and notice how differently people respond to you. 6. Hygiene considerations that affect perception. Our final aging habit is perhaps the most sensitive, yet addressing it can have the most immediate impact on your social interactions. It involves hygiene issues that we may become less aware of as we age, particularly related to breath and body odor. This is something almost no one will tell you about directly, Dr. Bennett explains gently. Instead, people simply create more physical distance during conversations or find reasons to keep interactions brief. The science explains why this becomes more common with age. As we get older, our sense of smell diminishes. By age 80, many people have lost up to 50% of their smell sensitivity. Simultaneously, physiological changes like decreased saliva production can lead to dry mouth and increased bacteria, while medications often create side effects that affect body odor. Eleanor, a 79-year-old community volunteer, noticed that people seemed less comfortable around her despite her active social life. During committee meetings, I realized everyone positioned their chairs slightly farther from mine than from others. My daughter finally suggested, very tactfully, that I might want to try a different approach to oral care. I was embarrassed but grateful she told me. Eleanor consulted her dentist, who explained that her blood pressure medication was contributing to her breath issues. We found a simple solution: staying better hydrated, using an alcohol-free mouthwash, and keeping sugar-free mints handy. The difference in how people interacted with me was almost immediate. Conversations became closer and more relaxed. Dr. Bennett emphasizes that addressing these issues isn't about vanity. It's about removing barriers to meaningful connection. When someone moves away during conversation or cuts talk short, you miss opportunities for the social engagement that's vital to healthy aging. Simple solutions can make a tremendous difference. For breath freshness, staying well hydrated is crucial, as is regular dental care. For those with dentures, ensuring proper cleaning and fit prevents odor-causing bacteria. For body freshness, wearing natural fibers that breathe, changing clothes daily, even if they don't appear soiled, and using an effective deodorant appropriate for mature skin can resolve most issues. The key is creating awareness when our natural detection system, our sense of smell, may be less reliable, Dr. Bennett notes. Establishing regular hygiene routines becomes more important, not less, as we age. Eleanor found that addressing this sensitive issue transformed her social comfort. Now, when my grandchildren visit, they sit close and give real hugs instead of those quick, leaning away embraces. That close connection means everything to me. Consider your own routines. Have you adjusted them to accommodate the natural changes that come with aging? Small adjustments can make a profound difference in the closeness and quality of your daily interactions. We've explored 6 habits that can unknowingly age us, but remember, each one is completely within your control to change. These adjustments aren't about denying your age, but embracing it with confidence and vitality. By refining how you communicate, carry yourself, maintain grooming, dress, engage positively, and address hygiene, you'll not only appear more vibrant, but actually feel more connected to others. Start with just one change today. Notice how differently people respond to you and how differently you feel about yourself. Age is inevitable, but how we experience it and how others experience us is very much in our hands. What change will you make first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else on their journey to aging with dignity and grace.